The man and teen accused of killing a woman in Sylvania Township, hiding her body, then fleeing to Mexico could be even more trouble. New documents uncovered by the I-team show they might be working together to give investigators some false information.
And this is as they are hundreds of miles away from each other. I-team reporter Sean Haggerty with what he's uncovered.
Caitlin Coons is locked up here at the Lucas County Jail. Her boyfriend and the man accused of killing his mother is Jonathan Jones. He is locked up in a state prison near West Virginia. We've now learned the two are still communicating. As state investigators went through the home of 53-year-old Nicole Jones, details of her murder started to come together. The case turned into murder charges against her son, Jonathan Jones, and his girlfriend, 17-year-old Caitlin Coons. Prosecutors say Coons gave Jones 5 hours to kill his mother. Coons then proceeded to do it on her own, according to those investigators. Jonathan Jones went to the state prison in Belmont County on a previous conviction, and Coons is still here in the Lucas County Jail as each awaits their trial on murder. But it now appears the two are staying in communication. According to this affidavit for a search warrant, dated April 15th, the two are writing to each other. The Department of Rehabilitation told prosecutors that letters between the two were intercepted. According to those investigators, the contents of the mail, letters, writings, correspondence consist of both inmates conspiring to provide false information to this investigation. Those investigators are also zeroing in on Coons further. The affidavit saying, quote, writings were found in Caitlin Coons' jail cell that contain information that may be relevant to this investigation. That led those investigators to requesting the warrant and trying to get a hold of the documents to see how that may affect the case. The judge, in fact, did sign off on the warrant. No trial date has been set for either one yet. In downtown Toledo, Sean Haggerty, 13X News.